Have you heard of someone who seemed fine one moment but passed away suddenly? It's a devastating shock for loved ones, but in many cases, the warning signs were there all along, just overlooked. Sudden death, especially in older adults, doesn't always come without warning. The body often tries to signal when something is wrong, but too many people dismiss these signs as nothing more than normal aging. That's why in this video, we're going to go over 6 critical signs that could indicate a serious, life-threatening condition before it's too late. These are signs you should never ignore, and knowing them just might save your life or the life of someone you love. Some of these symptoms may seem subtle or easy to brush off, but they often point to underlying issues that can escalate quickly. Things like heart failure, strokes, and fatal blood clots. The key is recognizing these red flags early and taking action before tragedy strikes. So stay with me until the end, because understanding these warning signs could make all the difference. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos that could help keep you or your loved ones safe. Now let's get into it. Number 1, unexplained shortness of breath. Picture this: you're walking up a flight of stairs, something you've done countless times before, but this time something feels off. You're winded, your chest feels tight, and you have to pause to catch your breath. Maybe you chalk it up to aging or being out of shape. But here's what many don't realize: sudden, unexplained shortness of breath can be a serious warning sign that something is wrong with your heart or lungs. When the heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, fluid can build up in the lungs, making it harder to breathe. This is called congestive heart failure, and it can develop gradually or strike suddenly. Many people don't recognize it until it's too late. Shortness of breath could also be a sign of a pulmonary embolism, a potentially fatal blood clot that travels to the lungs. This can happen out of nowhere, especially in people who sit for long periods or have recently had surgery. Think about Robert, a 74-year-old retired school teacher. He was always active, enjoying daily walks around his neighborhood. But one morning he noticed that even a short walk left him struggling to breathe. His wife urged him to see a doctor, but he dismissed it as nothing more than getting older. Just a week later, he collapsed at home. By the time help arrived, it was too late. His cause of death, a massive heart attack, one that could have been prevented if he had paid attention to that one crucial symptom. Here's what you need to know. If you find yourself gasping for air after mild activity, feeling breathless while lying down, or waking up in the middle of the night, unable to catch your breath, don't ignore it. These could be early signs of heart or lung disease, and catching them early could mean the difference between life and death. A doctor can determine if something more serious is going on, and in many cases, treatment can prevent a sudden, catastrophic event. The bottom line? If your breathing suddenly changes and there's no clear reason for it, take it seriously. It's easy to shrug off, but the consequences of ignoring this sign can be devastating. Number 2, frequent chest discomfort, not just pain. Imagine sitting down to watch TV and out of nowhere, you feel a strange tightness in your chest. It's not sharp and it's not unbearable. Just an uncomfortable pressure, almost like someone is pressing down on you. You shift in your seat, take a deep breath, and after a few minutes it fades. You think, well, that was odd, but since it wasn't severe, you brush it off. That moment of discomfort, though, could be your body trying to warn you of something far more dangerous lurking beneath the surface. Most people assume that a heart attack only announces itself with crushing chest pain. But the truth is, the signs can be much more subtle. A dull ache, mild burning, or an uncomfortable tightness in the chest, especially if it comes and goes, could indicate an underlying heart problem. These symptoms often appear days or even weeks before a major cardiac event, and because they aren't as dramatic as what we see in movies, many people ignore them until it's too late. Take Harold, for example. He was 78 years old and had always been in decent health. Every now and then, he'd feel what he described as a little squeeze in his chest, usually when climbing the stairs or carrying groceries. Since it went away on its own, he figured it wasn't anything serious. One evening, while getting ready for bed, that familiar tightness returned, but this time it didn't let up. Minutes later, he collapsed. By the time help arrived, his heart had stopped. Looking back, his family realized those mild episodes were warning signs that his heart was struggling. If you ever feel an unexplained sensation of pressure, squeezing, or even a mild discomfort in your chest, especially if it happens during activity or stress, pay attention to it. Your heart could be trying to tell you something. Some people describe it as indigestion, others as heaviness or fullness in the chest. But whatever it feels like, don't ignore it. The earlier you catch heart trouble, the better your chances of preventing something catastrophic. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, sudden weakness or dizziness. You wake up feeling fine, go about your day as usual, and then, out of nowhere, a wave of dizziness washes over you. Maybe you have to grab onto something to steady yourself. Maybe the room spins for just a moment before things return to normal. It's unsettling, but since it only lasts a few seconds, you tell yourself it's nothing to worry about. But here's the reality: sudden weakness or dizziness isn't always just a sign of dehydration or fatigue. Sometimes it's a critical warning that something serious is happening inside your body. One of the most overlooked early signs of a stroke is brief dizziness, especially if it comes with sudden weakness in the arms or legs. Many people experience what's called a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, a mini stroke that temporarily disrupts blood flow to the brain. The symptoms often disappear within minutes, leading people to believe everything is fine. But make no mistake, a TIA is your body's way of saying, a full-blown stroke could be coming soon. Consider George, a 72-year-old former firefighter. One afternoon, while standing in his kitchen, he suddenly felt lightheaded. His vision blurred for a few moments, and his left leg felt strangely weak. He sat down, rested, and after a few minutes, he felt fine again. He mentioned it to his daughter later that evening. But since he felt normal, they dismissed it. The next morning, George suffered a major stroke that left him unable to speak or move his right side. His doctors later confirmed that the dizzy spell he had the day before was his body's warning, a warning he didn't take seriously. Another common cause of sudden weakness and dizziness is an irregular heartbeat, also known as atrial fibrillation. When the heart beats erratically, it can struggle to pump blood efficiently, causing momentary drops in blood pressure that make you feel faint. Left untreated, this condition can lead to life-threatening blood clots and sudden cardiac arrest. So, what should you watch out for? If you suddenly feel unsteady on your feet, if your arms or legs unexpectedly feel weak, or if you experience dizziness that seems to come out of nowhere, especially if it lasts longer than a few seconds, don't ignore it. It could be an early signal of a stroke or a heart condition that needs immediate attention. The key is not to wait. Many people hesitate to seek help because they don't want to overreact. But when it comes to your health, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Ignoring sudden weakness or dizziness can have devastating consequences. If you or someone you know experiences these symptoms, don't brush them off, get checked out. Let's move on to the next critical warning sign. Number 4, swelling in the legs or abdomen. Picture this: you sit down at the end of the day, pull off your socks and notice deep indentations in your skin. Or maybe your shoes feel uncomfortably tight, even though they fit fine just days ago. It's easy to dismiss swelling in the legs, feet, or abdomen as nothing more than water retention or a result of standing too long. But what if I told you that swelling, especially if it appears suddenly or seems to be getting worse, can be one of the earliest signs of a serious heart, kidney, or liver problem? When your heart isn't pumping blood as efficiently as it should, fluid can start to build up in the lower parts of your body due to poor circulation. This condition, known as edema, often signals worsening heart failure. The swelling itself isn't usually painful, but it's a red flag that your body is struggling to manage fluid balance. In some cases, swelling in the abdomen can indicate liver disease, which can also lead to dangerous fluid accumulation, known as ascites. Let me tell you about Frank, a 76-year-old Navy veteran. Frank always prided himself on being in good shape, but over the course of a few weeks, he noticed his ankles looked puffier than usual. He figured it was just due to sitting too long or eating salty foods. But then he started feeling more fatigued, and his stomach looked bloated. His wife urged him to see a doctor, but he waved it off until one morning he woke up struggling to catch his breath. By the time he got to the emergency room, doctors discovered he had severe heart failure. The swelling was his body's way of trying to warn him, long before things got critical. So, how can you tell if swelling is something to worry about? Pay attention to when it happens and how persistent it is. If your legs, feet, or stomach are noticeably swollen, if pressing on your skin leaves an indentation that doesn't bounce back right away, Or if the swelling seems to get worse as the day goes on, take it seriously. These could all be signs that your heart, kidneys, or liver aren't functioning properly. And if you ever experience swelling along with shortness of breath or sudden weight gain, seek medical attention immediately. Many people ignore swelling until it becomes severe, but recognizing it early can be life-saving. If your body is holding on to excess fluid, don't assume it's harmless. Get it checked out before it leads to something worse. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, unusual fatigue that appears suddenly. Imagine waking up after a full night's sleep, but instead of feeling refreshed, you feel completely drained, like you've been running a marathon in your sleep. You try to push through the day, but everything feels like a struggle. Even simple tasks like making coffee or getting dressed leave you feeling wiped out. You tell yourself it's just part of getting older, but deep down, something feels different. Unusual fatigue, especially if it comes on suddenly and doesn't seem to have an obvious cause, can be a major warning sign of an impending heart attack or serious cardiovascular issue. When the heart is struggling to pump blood effectively, the body starts redirecting energy to keep vital organs functioning. This can leave you feeling exhausted, even if you haven't done anything physically demanding. In some cases, extreme fatigue can show up weeks before a major cardiac event. Consider Ruth, a 70-year-old retired librarian. She had always been full of energy, known for her morning walks and love of gardening. But one month, she started feeling different. She felt unusually tired after just a few minutes of activity. A trip to the grocery store left her completely wiped out. She chalked it up to aging, but the fatigue only got worse. Then one morning, she woke up feeling a strange pressure in her chest. By the time she got to the hospital, doctors told her she was in the middle of a heart attack. The exhaustion she had been feeling for weeks was actually her body's way of warning her in advance. Fatigue caused by heart trouble doesn't feel like normal tiredness. It's not the kind of exhaustion that gets better with rest. It lingers, making everyday activities feel overwhelming. Some people even describe it as a sudden loss of stamina, as if their body just won't cooperate the way it used to. If you've noticed that your energy levels have dropped drastically and there's no clear explanation, especially if you feel weaker than usual or find yourself needing more naps, don't ignore it. Your body could be telling you that something is wrong. Fatigue is one of those symptoms that's easy to brush off, but when it's tied to heart disease, it can be one of the earliest red flags. Too often, people assume exhaustion is just part of aging, but in many cases, it's actually your body's distress signal. If your fatigue is persistent, unusual, or getting worse over time, it's worth getting checked out before something more serious happens. Let's move on to the next warning sign. Number 6, irregular or racing heartbeat. Imagine sitting in your favorite chair, reading a book or watching TV, when suddenly your heart starts racing out of nowhere. It feels like it's fluttering, skipping beats, or pounding harder than usual, even though you're just sitting still. Maybe it only lasts for a few seconds before things return to normal, so you brush it off as stress or too much caffeine. But what if I told you that an irregular or racing heartbeat, especially if it happens frequently, could be a silent warning sign of something far more dangerous? Your heart is like an engine, and when it starts misfiring, it's a sign that something isn't working as it should. One of the most common causes of an irregular heartbeat is atrial fibrillation, a condition where the heart beats in an erratic, disorganized way. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It significantly increases the risk of stroke, heart failure, and sudden cardiac arrest. When the heart doesn't beat properly, blood can pool in the chambers, leading to dangerous clots that can travel to the brain or lungs. Think about Tom, a 73-year-old grandfather who always considered himself healthy. One evening, while playing cards with his friends, he felt his heart start racing unexpectedly. It settled down after a minute, so he ignored it. But over the next few weeks, it kept happening. Short bursts of rapid heartbeats that came and went without warning. Finally, during a routine checkup, his doctor detected an irregular rhythm. Further tests revealed he had atrial fibrillation, and he was immediately started on treatment. His doctor told him that if he had waited much longer, he could have been at serious risk of a life-threatening stroke. So how can you tell if your heart is trying to warn you? Pay attention to irregular beats, fluttering sensations, or any episodes where your heart suddenly speeds up without reason. If you ever feel dizzy, lightheaded, or short of breath when this happens, don't ignore it. These are signs that your heart may not be pumping blood effectively, which can quickly turn into an emergency. Even if the symptoms seem minor, getting checked out early can prevent a major cardiac event down the line. Ignoring an irregular heartbeat is like ignoring a warning light on your car's dashboard. You might not notice a problem right away, but eventually something serious could go wrong. If you've been experiencing these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to your doctor, get it evaluated, and take action before it's too late. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. We've just covered 6 crucial warning signs that could indicate a life-threatening condition before sudden death strikes. These signs: unexplained shortness of breath, frequent chest discomfort, sudden weakness or dizziness, swelling in the legs or abdomen, unusual fatigue, and an irregular or racing heartbeat, are your body's way of sounding the alarm. The problem is, too many people dismiss them as minor inconveniences, not realizing that they could be warnings of something much more serious. If you've experienced any of these symptoms, don't wait until it's too late. Get checked out, even if it seems like a small issue. The truth is, many sudden deaths could be prevented if people recognized the signs early and took action. It's always better to be safe than to regret ignoring something that could have been a life-saving warning. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced any of these symptoms, or do you know someone who has? What stood out to you the most from today's video? Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.